Hi everyone, my name is Kerryn from Holistic Essentials Therapy and Consulting, and welcome to this week's guidance cards. And this week is covering Monday the 4th of April through to Friday the 8th of April. And what I wanted to talk about today was how easily it can happen to each of us, myself included, that we get caught up in everyday life and our everyday worries, and we often forget to maintain our affirmations that we say daily. And I'm speaking for myself today, and what I have noticed is in the last week or so my lower back has gone. Now, energetically, I understand and I know that on some level within myself, I'm not feeling supported at this time. And, you know, I've made a big leap of faith this year. Since January this year, I've made the decision to commit all of my time, 100% of my time, to servicing others through healing and readings and meditations. And this, I feel very strongly, is my life purpose. And when I was coming back from annual leave in January, I was not looking forward to going back to my normal day job, because this work that I do here is what I love to do. And I put it out to the universe that if this was the work that they were wanting me to do, then something really large needed to happen in order for me to be able to make that final choice, that final decision. And, you know, my first week back, yes, the choice was taken out of my hands and there were big changes. And it was an opportunity for me to say, okay, here's the sign. So I'm now going to listen, and I will do the work that I love full time, serving my higher self, my truth, the angels, my spirit team, and of course Source. Because whenever we do something that's in service for and of something that's greater than ourselves, then that's what brings us the truest happiness and joy. But what I have noticed and what I became aware of today was two of my favorite affirmations that I would normally say all the time. I've been distracted. I still have my daily meditation practice that I do religiously morning and night. That's the commitment that I made to myself. And normally I would be saying my affirmations every day as well. But just in the last week or so, I've been very busy, caught up in life, trying to be creative, and how am I going to get myself out there, and how can I get my, because this is my job now, and how can I get this to not only in the service of you, but also for how am I going to be energetically compensated, I guess you could say, from the universe, so that I can continue to do this work. And in doing so, the two affirmations that I've forgotten to say the last week and a half have been, the universe always has my back and everything is always working out for me. And the pain in my lower back has been a really good, timely reminder, and it's important to hear this today, that when you have a physical manifestation, the physical manifestation that occurs in your body is an indication of what's going on in your mind, in your subconscious mind, in your mental thought processes. And for myself, subconsciously, clearly I've not been feeling supported, or my lower back wouldn't be giving me trouble at this time. So in saying all of that, I am making sure that from today forward, that my affirmations that work for me are the universe always has my back and everything is always working out for me, are going to be the first and last affirmations of the day that I say. And the reason that I do this is so that I set the intention for the whole day. And then at night, if I'm saying these affirmations, and I add more to that, I love and approve of myself is another one. I also I move freely and easily with the flow of the universe, and all that is for my highest good naturally flows into my life. I just made that one up. That's really good. I'll have to go back and look at that so I can write it down. So there are affirmations that we can say, and there are things that we can do to shift our subconscious mind so that it serves us. And yes, 9 times out of 10, I practice what I preach, but it's more about bringing attention and awareness to you that even the most positive of us can fall into old programming. And that's obviously what I've done. And I'm very grateful. I'm not angry. I'm not frustrated, although I have been a little bit frustrated with the pain, which is now easing now that I've recognized that this is where it's coming from, and okay, this is what I've been doing. And I will be maintaining that over the next couple of weeks. But it's also about trust. So whenever we resist the natural flow of life, when we feel that we have to take control of situations ourselves rather than handing it over to the universe and trusting that whatever will be, we do get signals from our body and from our emotions that let us know that we're off track. And clearly I've been off track the last week, so I'm excited to be getting back on track. But it was more, I'm sharing this with you today because this happens to everybody. And the learning in this is being able to identify, okay, something's not right, because so many of us just go through our lives and we experience suffering, we experience pain, and we just grin and bear it and we just soldier on. But that's not the right thing to do. What we need to be doing is taking a step back. And usually it's the emotions and the fear that we're pushing down and we're not acknowledging it. And so what's important for us is to be able to take the time to sit and just say, okay, this is where I'm at right now. And I know you've heard me say this a lot. This is where I'm at right now. And that's okay. It's okay. And when we do this, we bring awareness and space to the emotions and the pain that we're experiencing in our own bodies. And when we do that, that then allows for that energy to gently move on, I guess you could say, or to leave us. So it's important not to ignore the signals that our body gives to us, as well as our emotions, because they are our internal guidance system to let us know that something is not okay in our lives at this time. So I am handing, I guess, the work that I do and the business that I'm now running, and I'm handing it over to the energy of the universe. And I'm trusting that the right people who are drawn to me and require or could benefit from the services that I provide, the universe will find a way for that person to be energetically drawn to me. And so I'm going to trust in that rather than feeling that I myself am solely responsible for making this happen, because it's really not up to me. It's up to you, and it's really up to the universe. So this week, for our guidance, we finally get there, I'm actually using magical messages from the Fairies Oracle cards. Again, they're Doreen Virtue cards. And the reason that I felt drawn to these today, and I guess this is in light of how maybe I've been a little bit too serious of late as well, is the joy and the fun and the sense of freedom and the feeling of mischievousness that fairies and anything that's elemental brings into our awareness in our lives. And who says that there isn't magic in the world? And who says that we're too old to believe in things that are unexplained? And I certainly am I'm sold, I'm a believer. But, you know, when we were kids, we just made up our own games, we played outside, we made cubby houses, we made up our own games and we used our imagination. And you know, we believed in magic and dragons and secret gardens. And I just feel that there's a whole generation now that are just overtaken with technology, and they're not getting to experience the magic of magic, really. All right, so the first card that we have for Monday and Tuesday of this week is Flower Power. How beautiful is that? Look at that, and look at her beautiful fairy wings. And so what I'm feeling with this for Monday and Tuesday this week is, especially if you're in Australia, and we have our seasons that are now going to be changing, and you know, we're moving into some cooler weather, and before we know it, winter is going to be here. So what I really feel for you is take as much time as you can, as many opportunities as you can on Monday and Tuesday to get outside. Go for a walk in your lunch break if you're working, take the kids for a walk if you're at home. Just go for a walk and watch the beauty of nature. And when you really look and appreciate flowers, and everybody already thinks I'm nuts, so this is totally okay for me to say this. I am a little bit woo-woo. Flowers sing to you. And an experience that I had with that was I planted some beautiful gerberas in my driveway. And I was driving out of the driveway one morning, and I stopped the car and I said to my daughter, put the window down and look out. And she looked out at the gerberas, and a smile lit up on her face. And I just said to her, they're singing. And you know what? She really felt that they were singing. Nature in its purest form is a celebration of life. And so what I'm also feeling for Monday and Tuesday of this week for you is to celebrate the miraculous creation that you are. We all are. And we have right at our fingertips, and we're so lucky where we, you know, live in the country that we're in. And I can only speak for Australia. I can't speak for anywhere else. But we do have so much nature available to us that we can access. And some of us can walk outside our doors, and we're surrounded by trees and birds and flowers of all colours. Or you can just go into your local town, to the local park. Some people have botanical gardens. There is so much, there is an abundance. Nature is all about abundance. And when we focus on the abundance of what life has to offer us, then life will bring you more of that. So I feel that this is a time for us, especially with the changing of the seasons to come, to soak up as much as we can of the beautiful natural sunlight and the flowers that are in bloom at this stage, and just really watch how nature works, because we can actually learn so much from that. Okay, so Wednesday and Thursday. Daughter, gorgeous. Now what I feel with that for Wednesday and Thursday is I actually feel that it's quite threefold, and I feel it's representative of, again, the changing of the seasons. And in the pagan, you know, we have the maiden, and we have the hag, and we have, oh, I can't remember what it's called. It's not the matron, but it might be. But we have the three female energies, and we also have the three female energies within our own cultures. So we have mother, daughter, and grandmother, or we have mother, daughter, and great granddaughter. So there's nieces and there's nephews, and I say nephews because we focus a lot on the attention, the negative media attention that is given to our daughters. But what we also forget is that males, men, all you men out there, are very sensitive souls as well, especially with the new generations that are coming through. And they have all of the same insecurities that our daughters or ourselves have. And so what I'm feeling very strongly is that if you have a daughter, or if you have a son, or if you have both, or if it's just you and your mother, it could be any female relationship that you have at this time, it's important to appreciate them for all of their good qualities. And I think what we forget to do so often is that we get so insecure about ourselves, and we get anxious about what we're doing, where we're heading, how we look, how people perceive us. And what we forget is that the person that's right beside us is also experiencing those emotions and those thoughts. And we all tend to wait for somebody else to acknowledge us. And the way that the law of the universe works is what you want to receive, you must first give away. Does that make sense? So if you're wanting some acknowledgement, if you're wanting appreciation, if you're wanting validation that where you're at, and it should always come from in here first, but let's be honest, most of the population don't go within first. They look for the advice or the sense of belonging from an outside external source first. So this is really dealing with both of those. So if you're in a place where you can say, I love and honor myself, I love and approve of myself, that's fantastic. And especially as a mother or as a daughter or even as an aunt, you're teaching the younger generation of girls and boys as well. It's important that we don't exclude men and young men in this, because there is a very strong female energy that is moving into the consciousness of our awakening as a planet. And especially over the next few years, we are moving out of the patriarchal and we're moving into the strong female energy. And so it's important that we don't make the mistake of old. And if you do your research and you go back in history, excuse me, it was very much the female energy. And then the male energy, we have really been dominated by that for a long period of time. And so it's important as we move into this new era of female dominant energy that we bring the young males with us. It's important that they are just as valued and as heard as what young women are, because men need to feel like they have a place in the world that is changing at this time, if that makes sense to everybody. And they just shifted me completely then into a whole different area of what I was going to talk about. So I'm going to leave it at that for Wednesday and Thursday. But no, I'm not. Of course, I'm not going to. I'm always going to add something else to it. So just for the Wednesday and Thursday, it's important to give appreciation and acknowledgement to people in your life who you do value and respect. Because when you give that, that's when you receive it. But as I always say, the most important mantra that you can say for yourself is, I love and approve of myself. I like who I am. And when we get into that energy of accepting who we are and where we're at, then that moves into and influences the energy of the people around you. When you meditate, there's the ripple effect, and you actually have a positive impact on everyone in your household, or if there's a group of you that meditate together in your whole area. And the same applies when you change your thought processes and you start to become aware of what your subconscious mind is doing in your life, and you bring awareness to your thoughts and you make that conscious choice to change them, then that allows for the people around you to change also. And I've experienced this firsthand, so I can tell you it really does work. All right, so for Friday, the 8th of April, vegetarian. Now, this has really been coming up a lot in all of my readings over the last couple of months. And the reason that I feel and that I'm being guided that this comes up and is coming up so frequently is because the processed foods and the chemically laden foods that we consume on a daily basis are really starting to have, well, they have had for a long period of time, but they're just starting to make the connection. Not that, not that there's a lot of media publicity around the connections to what's not healthy for you in the foods that we eat, because let's be honest, it's the way that the world works. And there are huge organizations that receive a lot of money from making all of us very unwell. There's a massive shift that's occurring this year, especially. It has been over the last couple of years. I know for myself, I've had an insane shift in my own life, my own world, and my own development in the last 2 years. And it really precedes, any shift that you have precedes a complete breakdown of all that you know, all that you think, all that you do. And when that is all broken down and peeled away, it allows for you then to have new spiritual growth. Now, the reason that that information is coming through at this time is because it's making all of us so sensitive to what we consume, what we drink, what we think. The planet is shifting. And we're all shifting with it, whether we're aware of it consciously or not. And you may find, there's people that are developing allergies to foods that they never used to have. And there's so many illnesses now that are related to foods. And what I've come to understand is that this is my vehicle. What I'm sitting in here now is my vehicle. And for the work that I want to do, which is what I'm doing right now, which is helping people to find their own way, that gives me the greatest joy to see the light switch on somebody's face, in their eyes, when they have that aha moment of, wow, I'm more than what I ever thought that I could be. I'm more than what I have ever believed that I am. And I really do have the power within me to shift where I'm at and to change my life. That is what drives me to do the work that I do, because I can give you the tools, but the greatest healing is when you make the conscious choice that yes, you're going to put it into place, and the excitement that comes with that when it starts to work for you and you start to see and feel real changes in your life. And so with the vegetarian, again, what they do on a humanitarian level, what they do to the animals that we consume on a daily basis, the way that they are treated, the way that they are killed, the way the hormones that they're injected with, the chemicals in the foods that they're fed to fatten them up so we can consume them. Back in the day, you took only what you needed for your family. And that may have been you only needed to kill one animal a month for your whole family. And that animal was bred, it was looked after, it was in open fields. Now, I know that Australia is not as bad as some of the other countries, but it's still about when you purchase the food that you eat, it's mass produced. Animals have souls. Animals are here. They're just waiting for humans to wake up, because we should be living in harmony with each other. And there is this sense on our planet of our resources are running out, that there's lack, there's not enough to go round. And it's the mass consciousness of that thinking that actually creates that reality in our physical eyes. Whereas all of us were to have the understanding and the thought in our mind that there is enough for everybody. There is more than enough to go round. There should not be a single person on this planet that is homeless or that starves to death. There are children that starve to death, and the amount of food that our organisations throw out and discard or not take from the farmers because they're not perfect, we could be harnessing that and we could be distributing that to people who have nothing. And yes, that does frustrate me, because how do you start this? I know there are organisations that are doing it, and if there are organisations in your area, support them. Even if it's a $5 a month donation, there should be more than enough to go around for everybody on this planet. But coming back to the vegetarian, yes, I got sidetracked again. There's a reason always that anything comes out of my mouth, so I just open it, and whatever they impress on me, whatever my spirit team impress on me, or what I'm guided to say is what I will say. And I hope that it's relevant to you today, because it's always a surprise to me. But coming back to the vegetarian, if you're not in a position or in a place where you choose not to be vegetarian, everybody has the right to make that choice. There are still things that you can do. You can still buy free-range meat. You can still buy free-range eggs. You can really do the research about the foods that you're eating, because there are so many. Cancer is just an epidemic on this planet. And if you look at the chemicals that our foods are injected with, that the animals are injected with, that we're consuming, the antibiotics that get thrown away and flushed down the toilet, that get recycled back into, all of our animals, they drink that water. If they're drinking that water, it's in their bodies. If we're eating it, then we're eating everything that they've consumed. So it's not just about being vegetarian for the sake of being vegetarian. It's really, this is the 21st century. There are no excuses for being completely ignorant and not wanting to have an understanding of what you're doing to yourself and for yourself. This really is an age of a collective consciousness that is growing and expanding. And with that comes a level of responsibility and accountability. So I'm not vegetarian myself. I'm mainly vegetarian. But when I do eat meat, I make sure that I'm purchasing from an Australian, and I'm not saying it has to be Australian, but I'm saying that they're local certified organic farmers. And I'm talking Australian because I'm in Australia. And that's all I can comment on, is the area that I'm from. So I hope that that brings you some insight. I do feel that this is a week of a lot of opportunities, as always. When your intention is that you are wanting to have an understanding and awareness of what's really going on in the world, turn off the TV, turn off the news, turn off the radio, and really start to submerge yourself in knowledge of quantum physics. I love it. It's amazing what they're discovering every day. Find people who have a message that they are giving to the world that resonates with you and what your soul is searching for. And I know for myself, and I can only speak for myself, that when I went on a huge journey 2 years ago, or just over 2 years ago, and it started with me turning off all the media, because I had the belief that if I saw something on the news that was so horrific and so frightening that I had no physical control over, and that I couldn't do anything about, it gives you that sense of anxiety, it gives you that sense of stress and fear, but it also gives you a deep sense of helplessness and fear, of course. And I had the belief at that time, or the understanding and inner knowing, that whenever I watched something or listened to something like that, because we are all energy, I truly believed within myself that in those moments of feeling all of those frustrations and those fears and those anxieties, that I was physically adding to that situation, not helping it. I'm feeding it. I'm feeding it by adding my fear and my anger and my righteousness to it. So I decided for myself, and each and every one of us can only decide at any time for ourselves. I can't tell you what to do. I can only share with you what has really been a significant shift for myself. And I really found that when I did that, I got onto YouTube because I thought, well, I still want some form of connection to the world, but I want it to be on my terms and for my highest good and what I'm wanting to learn. And during the period that I had my greatest shift, I sat at the computer and went, okay, I'm not sure what it is that I need, but I'm wanting to learn. I'm wanting to grow. I'm wanting to expand my consciousness. I'm wanting to raise my frequency levels. And in doing that, it led me to amazing people like Esther Hicks, Eckhart Tolle, back to Deepak Chopra, Oprah, Super Soul Sunday, love it. If I'm going to watch anything, I'm going to watch her. So I guess the message in that is we are responsible and accountable for not only what we feed our bodies, but what we feed our souls and what we feed our minds. And at some point, each and every one of us will get to a period in our lives where we will actually say, I can't do this anymore. I just cannot continue to live the way that I am. And when you do that, that's when your angels, your guardian angels, your spirit team, your guides and helpers, the collective consciousness is just there, waiting for each and every one of us to wake up and remember and to say, okay, I'm ready. So anyway, that was a lot more than what I was intending today. I hope that you find some resonance with what has been gifted to you today, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. You can also check out my website. I am a psychic medium and I'm a Reiki Master, so I do provide healings and readings. The readings can be done in person, via Skype or phone. Reiki healing can be done in person or via distance. It's just as powerful. And if you're in the Victoria area of Australia, I am running a meditation workshop on the 28th of May this year. And my initial intention is for a group, so a large group of people, to meditate together at the same time. And the reason for that is because the energy when you participate in something like that is so moving and there's so much love and it's so uplifting. It's also about the ripple effect. And if anyone's interested, you can check out the Maharishi effect on the internet. It has been widely studied and proven that when a group of people meditate together, not only do you assist your own well-being and help you to discover more about yourself, but there's also a ripple effect to your local community as well. So if you are interested in attending and joining that with me, all levels of meditation or meditators are welcome. So beginners, intermediate and experienced, there'll be something for everybody. Please feel free to check out my website for further details or my Facebook page. But have a great week, everybody. I hope that you go easy on yourself. Just, be kind to yourself, because when you start to be kind to yourself, that's when the rest of the world will as well. Big love, big hugs. Thank you so much for listening. Take care. Bye.